Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another scene set in the Chronicles of Darkness Vampire Requiem for London. Tonight we set our scene in Audrey's, Audrey's haven. She wakes up for the evening. She has a task to pursue tonight. News of an arson attempt on one of the Seneschal's properties. Assets has been struck at. Something which has caused multiple eyes to leer in the direction of the Carthian movement. And there has been an increasing amount of rumours surrounding action that may or may not be taken. And no shortage of concerns from both Carthians and kindred outside of the movement that there may be another war, something that at the very least the Carthians don't want. At the very least, don't believe themselves in a position to pursue right now. So, Audrey, with all of that weighing on your mind, how do you start your evening?
Well, first we try not to wake up Ben, because Lord knows I don't need Ben freaking out.
A bit late for that. It is common knowledge at this point that the good counsellor is always in a state of near frenzy and perpetual panic.
Listen, if I can leave him to his pile of blankets longer than normal, then by all means, let the poor man sleep. But yeah, we're gonna sneak our way on out of the house and I guess head on with a couple of weapons in tow just in case, because you never know, things can get violent.
TP his house.
And then we're gonna head off in the direction of the warehouse to go see what we can find.
Okay. So you begin to head off eastward, northeastward. In the general direction of design. Check the notes that I'm actually making now. Hammersmith. One of the Seneschal's territories, the former territory of the Carthian movement. It's actually not too far away from you. In fact, if you're in Ealing, it would be a very short drive. Assuming traffic is moved.
Yeah, but Ben lives in Richmond, so. Which is still not too far.
Hammersmith is a It's a more upper class area. Definitely has some of the more expensive properties in London. But your trip takes you to Charing Cross Hospital. Specifically the A&E section, the north side.
Okay.
Very ballsy and destructive move to for a Molotov at a hospital. Once you get there, you find that any police investigation, any coping officer that's vanished, and it's settled, cleaned up. The damage to the front of the NE section has been cleaned up. Looks like the damage is relatively minor at most, maybe not even all that significant, given that from what you can see, there is no real damage to speak of.
Mm-hmm.
Can I wits composure check though, or wits plus investigation? That'd probably be more suitable here.
You said wits investigation?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, oh boy. Hey. 2 successes.
Okay. You can also roll me presence plus persuasion, or manipulation plus persuasion if you like, if you want to talk to some of the local staff. You are humane enough that none of the nurses or doctors are going to raise concerns about you.
Yeah.
You may look a little bit under the weather, but outside of that, you appear fine.
Yeah, sure. We'll talk to some of the people. Let's see, how many dice is that? No dice.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate. Oh,
Okay.
well, I forgot a dice, but yes.
Roll that dice.
Roll that extra dice. I always forget that
10.
specialties give you extra
Maybe.
dice.
I like that though.
Not like that. I can roll correctly. Nope.
No dice.
No dice. None.
Okay. Well, from what you can tell, it doesn't look like the hospital's been damaged at all. In fact, looking around, maybe all kindred senses.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that there is what appears to be some light damage to a parking space near the A&E. Some light burn damage to the tarmac and to the white paint. You can see sort of a very faint scorch mark running across some of the lines. You don't think the hospital was actually hit at all. You think it was likely a vehicle. Probably also why it didn't end up in the news. If that's true. You imagine if a hospital was firebombed, it would be front page of any local newspaper.
Yeah. Though generally a firebombing near a hospital is generally a big fuss.
But that also leads you to believe that Kindred have likely already involved themselves.
Of course they have.
After all, as you say, should have made the news. Even if there's a firebombing near a hospital, you'd have heard about it somewhere. So it appears the authorities may have already stepped in. At the very least, to clean up the mess. Now, of course, begs the question is, whose car was that? Or was it important? Was it important? Unfortunately, none of the hospital staff are all that cooperative with you. They're very much busy. They're pretty much when you approach them, they're very much, do you need medical help? Do you need to be here? Do you need me? No, okay, then good day. Or good day. And they brush you off. You could, of course, use your majesty to maybe approach one of them. You could maybe head around the front. Maybe there's a receptionist who knows something. Or can at least point you in the right direction of somebody.
Is there a security guard nearby?
There actually is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's she's just been sort of wandering in and out of the A&E section. Makes sense if there was somebody throwing around a Molotov. They have someone around here now, just sticking around just in case. Do you approach it?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of how to use that to get what I want. We have the PI is like an official business now, correct? We got that taken care of.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember what you called yourselves.
Probably one of my bad puns.
Honestly, I'll take any name at this point.
I know. think it was something like Night Eye or the Night Watch or something stupid. It was a really bad play on words. But okay, cool. So yeah, let's approach the security guard with PI business card in hand and see if we can get some information from the security guard.
You approach her. She's a woman of relatively average height and build, sort of a big, one of those orange fluorescent jackets that reflect light very brightly. So she's very visible. But you approach her to say, "Hey, can I help you with anything?"
Yes, actually, I am assisting the local authorities. I'm just trying to clean up some last details on the case. There was a firebombing here, and possibly a vehicle. Would you happen to have any information on that? And she will hand the PI card to the security guard.
Ooh. Roll me manipulation plus subterfuge, and I'll give you +2 dice because you have identification suggesting that you are legitimate.
Okay.
As legit as you are not actually working with the police. But hey, what is fact checking?
What is fact checking? Yeah. Single success.
But that is all you need.
That is true.
Just flash your ID, show that product was PO form, and she'll say, yeah, is there anything you want to know? I mean, I wasn't there, but as far as I know, everything was handed over to the police department, so...
Yeah, the tapes that they got actually, from the security cameras, there was a bit of a technical difficulty with it. Some of the footage, it was kind of blurred, fuzzy, just maybe like a glitch in the system. I was hoping I could actually get another look at that. So just from the main source, that way we can make sure it isn't our words. It isn't our technology that's the problem. It, just want to make sure we can follow up, get everything we can.
Yeah, I think I can help you with that. Camera room's just down this hall to the left. She sort of walks you down. It's a fairly short walk. Yeah, it happened a while ago now.
Yeah, it's still an open case on the docket though, so we're just trying to tie up loose ends before we close it for good. Due diligence and all that good
No, I get you. Never caught the guy. It's a shame.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're trying to do. Can't have random people just throwing Molotovs at civilians around a hospital.
Oh god, no.
You guys already have your work cut out for you as it is.
Yeah, I deal with I do have drunks in the occasional hysterical patient. I'm not really used to people throwing fireballs at us.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can keep it that way.
Yeah, it'd be real fucking stupid to throw a Molotov at a hospital.
Yeah.
But she'll leave it to his scooter. It's quite small. It's a little chair against a computer and a couple of monitors. Let me just take a minute. This might take a little bit. The OS is kind of out of date.
By all means, do what you gotta do.
When was it again? She thinks back to the date. And then recalls the light bulb spontaneously coming to life within her head. And she'll begin flicking through various cameras. Happened over the course of a couple of minutes, I think. Oh, yeah, here we are. And what you'll see on the camera based some time ago, needless to say. Is about a couple of masked individuals walking up into the car park. You see that they walk quite far into it. Actually walk into the staff car park. That's where the camera is. And you see them just pull out a Molotov from their jacket and just throw it at a nearby car. It's quite expensive looking. Four-wheel BMW. Two individuals in question. Fully like they kind of have they're fully masked up. And they appear to both be in plain black clothes. So this definitely wasn't spur of the moment, just based on their appearance.
Is the footage good enough to get general builds, heights, and determination of gender based off of the build?
Camera quality is not great, but you can determine general build and gender. Appears to be a male of above average height, but appears to be somewhat lanky, quite wiry, slim. The other feminine figure, that's quite short and curvaceous. A little bit on the heavier side. You notice it's It's the woman that lights the Molotov. The spark causes the man to jump back rather irrationally. But when it's thrown and it lands on the car, causes the woman to actually fall backwards out of shock of her own actions, her own action, and flee in a very panicked fashion. You see they get into a car. Looks like an old Ford, four-door, blue. They hastily drive out of the car park they're not even supposed to be in.
Can I get plates off of the Ford? Even if they are stolen?
Yeah, you can get a plate number.
And also the plate number of the BMW that they Molotoved. Try to see which staff member it may have been.
Should they already have that?
We do. I just want to make sure everything's lining up because, like I said, details get weird, especially this far down the road.
Alright. Yeah, it was Zach Peters. They more or less run the place. I can't remember the job title. They're in charge.
Yeah.
That's what she says. Chief something, I don't know.
Okay. And then... And then who called it in? We just have anonymous on the file back at the police station.
Somebody came into the A&E. They've been waiting for around some time. I can't remember. I wasn't there when this happened, but I know. I showed up after the fact. It was a patient that just came in. I think they sprained something.
Okay. Well, I think that about covers everything I need off the security footage. I do appreciate you doubling back on this because, like I said, loose ends, it doesn't look good on paper.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a shame.
Yeah. By the way, here's our card in case you or any other staff members can remember anything else. Give us a call. Hopefully we can, like I said, add it to the puzzle pieces and get a full picture. She'll hand him a business card.
Hey, business card friend.
Business card.
You want to make me a quick intelligence wits check?
Okay.
Intelligence composure, actually. I think is a good
3
3
successes.
okay. It occurs to you this person could be useful as a contact from the hospital. It also occurs to you that Walden being a contact you would be useful. You still don't work for the police, and if she starts talking, you don't want your firm to, you don't want what you've just done or said to get linked back to your firm, per se. So you might
Yeah.
want to convince her in some way to be quiet.
Yeah.
Which being a David, you're very good at.
That's true. Since there's no one else around,
Yeah, not in the camera room.
yeah. Be like, well, alright, so I guess we're gonna go ahead and pop Majesty, because there's no one else around to get caught in it. And just try to be really convincing. Be like, and also, like I said, loose ends, it doesn't look good on paper. If you could, maybe, like, keep this quiet, especially while we try to figure out who did it, because for all we know, it could have been another staff member holding a grudge, or, an upset patient. We just really don't want anything to get out before we can actually catch the guy,
Taken with your prowess with words. She'll say, oh yeah, sure, yeah, not a word out of me. If I learn anything, I'll give you a call.
Most appreciated. Hopefully we can help each other out more in the future as well.
Yeah, I'd love to. My name's Shelley, by the way.
Nice to meet you, Shirley. I'm Audrey. Shelley, sorry.
Well, yeah,
Alright.
I'm glad I could help.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it, but let me get back to my boss, and, like I said, hopefully we can get this solved sooner rather than later.
Oh, of course, yeah, sure, wouldn't want to keep you.
Yeah, also, I don't want anybody to get suspicious come looking for you either, so mum's the word.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I've been very, very convinced. And you trust they probably won't say anything.
Yeah. Cool. Well, with that, we will head out to figure out who this exact person is and figure out why someone bombed his car.
You don't have any contacts with the police, do you?
No, that's all Benji.
Let's see what you do have.
But I do have computer skills.
If only you'd been there, you could have caught the Molotov and thrown it back at them.
I know! Listen. But then we would have also had another problem, because it would have ashed them more than likely. Those were definitely kindred, especially considering how they react to the fire. Also makes me think, like, their reactions, that they might have been dominated. Never know.
Okay. Well, make me a wits computers check or investigation to find some information about this incident. Information won't be great because it's going to be information that's ultimately publicly available.
Yeah.
Unless you're willing to pay somebody to acquire more information for you. You could do that.
I do have lots of money, I could do that.
So, which one do you want to do?
Well, first let's try Google Foo, because I have one success for that. Figure out who this Zach Peters person is, what, what he does in the hospital, what chief of whatever he is. And then I guess also, like, figure out what this hospital does or who owns this hospital, because I have a feeling that's also going to be a thing before we start paying people.
Alright. So maybe a roll and then you can pay some individuals some money. Another firm to look up info for you.
Yeah.
Passing on the workload.
Listen, delegation is key for a good leader. So the computer roll was one success.
Okay, one success. So you find out some information regarding the hospital Zach Peters, like, Zach Peters is the chief medical officer and makes up a member of the trust board of the hospital. This is a public hospital, of course. It's run by the NHS. Zach Peters is himself is in his late 40s. Wasn't known to have any enemies or something, or at least based on the reports, the media reports you find, it doesn't seem to indicate anything like that. Doesn't seem like he had any serious drama or anything to that accord. To that effect, sorry. As a member of the trust board, you do know he's quite intimately involved in most parts of the hospital's business. So he'd be aware of he'll be aware of most major events that happen inside of it. And potentially even a lot of minor ones. But that's about all you find. You know, you imagine he's generally a well-regarded CMO that does his job, does it well, is on the board, is heavily involved with all aspects of the hospital's affairs and business. With no real enemies or anything like that, you don't imagine that, at least from what these reports say, that the individuals who assaulted his vehicle have any motive against him specifically. You do notice that the hospital's received a large number of donations over the past decade or so. Apparently facilitated by Mr. Peters, or Dr. Peters. Strikes you as a bit odd. But that's really the only thing that stands out about him. A very large number of charitable donations. Quite a lot of money as well being moved. I'm talking in the millions. So... Another thing that strikes out to you as odd about these donations is that they're all anonymous. Nobody's really looked into where the money's coming from. As far as the hospital's concerned, as far as Peters is concerned, you imagine they're just happy to receive the additional funding.
Gotcha. Were there any strings attached to the donations? Like it was for a particular type of like research or anything like that?
If there are, you are not aware of it. It is not mentioned in the reports.
Figures.
It seems to be for a wide variety of things. Usually it relates to something specific.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, for all of these new dialysis machines. Whatever, but usually that's what the hospital is spending the money on. It's not clear whether or not this is what's been asked for them to spend the money on.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'll just be right back. Just need to go for this.
Okay.
Intermission. And Meg.
Welcome back.
Okay. So we have got some information from a few media reports. Scrounged them all together, pinned them up on a board. Circle some photos. Stick on some posters. About a night later, information you get from your, well, I guess the question is, who are you paying? What kind of people?
So, are there any other kindred-based PI firms in London?
There are two kindred that fit that description, although only one runs a PI firm. But both independent kindred. The first is a kindred called Lynette Altringham. She works as an investigator for kindred-related affairs. May even be looking into this one for the court, but if she is, nobody's told the rest of the domain. The other is a woman called Malady Mines. She's a gangrene woman. She works as a courier of sorts for sensitive materials and messages between kindred. Has a pretty upstanding reputation as a honest broker. Has never been caught looking or stealing any of the information from packages or messages she delivers.
Gotcha.
But there's never been anything to suggest such a thing. So she's generally regarded as a secure option if one wants to deliver something of importance to somebody securely, or something that the court would find taboo to somebody.
Gotcha. Let's try Lynette first.
Okay. Let me give you her face claim. For her part, Lynette can most often be found in Wandsworth. That is where she is known to operate out of. This is Lynette. Can you know what you see?
Okay.
She has an office on the floor of a small office block in the middle of Wandsworth. Nothing particularly significant. Open 24/7.
Gotcha.
So, I assume you arrange a meeting with her.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Audrey's gonna call ahead, not just show up. Because that's the professional thing to do.
She's happy to arrange a meeting with you to discuss business. She'll see you in her office 9 p.m. sharp the next evening. So I assume you go there on your next evening.
We do.
Okay. So, you'll head up the lift, up a few floors. It's not very far up, really. Or you can just walk up the stairs. And then, once you're on the office floor, there's a few cubicles. Sort of, not really cubicles, really. Sort of loosely structured that way, but they're sort of too open to really, it's a fairly open space. Bunch of tables that are loosely configured in that way.
Gotcha.
Conference room and simple office and not office. There is simply a little plaque on it saying Lynette Audrey. She's simply waiting in her office for you. She sees you approach from the window in the door. She'll get up and open the door for you.
Much appreciated.
Evening, Miss Philby.
Good evening, Miss Aldringham. Thank you for seeing me on such short notice. I know your time is very valuable.
That is quite alright. The lull in Truth Domain's the domain's affairs have left me with a bit more time on my hands, although work is picking back up again.
Fair enough. I stumbled across something looking into it for one of the archons, and I believe it might have something to do with our realm of the woods, and I was wondering if you might be able to help me look into it a little bit. Are you familiar with the essentially a car bombing back at the hospital, Charing Hospital, about a month or two ago?
I vaguely recall an act of vandalism at Charing Cross.
Well, I gotta look at the security footage, and it was definitely, well, from what my eyes could see, it was more than likely Kindred who carried it out, but the Kindred in question didn't really seem to realize what they have done until after everything was said and done. And then obviously they were quite spooked at the fact that they had just lit a car on fire in front of themselves. I happened to get the plates and the vehicle make that they made out with. If you perchance had any way of looking into that.
Let me have a look at this footage first, and I'll tell you if I can help you.
Well, I wasn't able to get a copy of it from the hospital. That would be with the police.
Thumbs her nose slightly.
Ah.
Okay. What information do you have for me?
Well, the kindred in question, one is more than likely a male, one's a female. She'll give the general builds of the two people on the tape, as well as the fact that they were it was premeditated because of the way they were dressed, who they targeted, the position of the person at the hospital, and what she's already dug up about all the random, weird, anonymous donations. The make, model of the car, the plates, and the modus operandi of the whole event. And also the fact that it was oddly covered up. There was no real media reportings, even though a car was bombed at a hospital.
That doesn't surprise me too much. If there are kindred involved, the king and queen have been awfully hard on masquerade breaches for the past few years.
So what begs I guess the biggest question is, one, who are the two kindred? And if they were being controlled, dominated, whatever someone did to them, who is that the mastermind behind all of this? And why target Peters? I mean, obviously he's the money man, but then there's all these anonymous donations. Where's that money coming from?
Those are all good questions. What I have to ask you is, how much do you want me to look into this for you?
Really, I think what I need is the Ford stolen, and or who does it belong to? And if possible, tracing the money from the anonymous donations of the hospital. Normally, I would have my associate look into this, but he's a little tied up, and you came very highly recommended.
That's good to hear. I can do that for you. That information shouldn't be too hard for me to investigate, given a few nights.
And what kind of compensation are you wanting for your time?
Unlike many kindred, I do accept payments in cash, although few can afford my services. I do, of course, also accept boons.
Audrey pulls out a checkbook.
The equivalent she's looking for is 3 dots of cash, i.e. 3 dots of resources, which would put you out of pocket for the month.
Alright. Yeah, it would.
She's quite expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. She does come highly recommended, though.
Yeah, that's true. We'll bite the bullet.
Any available
We'll do the
substance
3 dots of
for...
resources for the month.
Pardon?
So we'll bite the bullet, go ahead and spend the 3 resources.
You're out of your check.
Yep.
She'll smile at you as she takes it. I must say, you are a lot more old-fashioned than you appear.
You can thank my dad for that. She just kind of gives her finger guns.
She'll smile and tuck the check away in a drawer beneath her desk. Oh, Miss Philby. I'll have what we need in a few minutes. 5 maximum. But I don't think it'll take any longer than that.
Excellent.
I'll keep you up to date and I'll be sure not to discuss any matters we've talked about here with the larger domain.
I'm sure the Archon would also appreciate that.
I'm sure they would if now that they appear suggest the Archon and the court considers the movement responsible in some manner.
Well, there's been hearsay from various parties, but I would rather go ahead and squash any rumors of our involvement. The counselors have worked so hard to build back up our reputation. It would be a shame if someone in the greater domain were trying to tear it down.
Building trust is a very slow process. Even the safe for upgrade.
Indeed.
I'm curious who started those rumors.
I'm sure I have a few ideas, but I'd rather not drag anybody through the mud until I have hard evidence. I'm not a harpy after all. My word doesn't carry as much clout.
A harpy's word is only so powerful. After all, a harpy's words only have meaning because the court allows them to. If people stopped caring about what a harpy had to say, then a harpy would not have any power and would cease to be a harpy.
True enough.
That's not the update, stop looking at it. Or was I going to tell you that?
It's been 60 seconds.
Huh?
Never mind.
Only 60 seconds.
Alright, go to the compared.
Well, I won't waste any more of your time, and I know you're fine.
Consider looking into the house. I would like to see the movements from under the proverbial glass. Because of a few amateurish opportunists. Might be worth setting these on. Good opportunity for the movement to show that it still has fangs, perhaps. But that is just an outsider's perspective.
Sometimes you have to look outside the box, get fresh ideas. The perspective is appreciated.
Thank you. This is something very few kindred share.
Well, unlike the rest of these old farts, I haven't been around as long, so I'm not old and jaded and stuck in my ways. Audrey definitely tries to impersonate a little old lady there.
That's so exciting. Well, it's not unless I'm sure that won't happen for a very long time.
Fingers crossed. Oh, no, go ahead.
It's a pleasure doing business with you, Miss Robert.
You as well, and hopefully I can assist you in the future if necessary, though I'm sure your network is a little more expanded than mine at the moment. But you never know. I do happen to get around certain circles, so.
Well, there's anything you find particularly intriguing, be sure to send it my way.
Will do.
Okay. We can be seen.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's okay. Thank you very much. We'll see you all next time.